As Nobunaga's influence began to penetrate the defenses of the Mori clan, Mori Motonari recognized the growing threat. He tightened his grip on his remaining territories, preparing his troops for an inevitable conflict. The Mori clan was renowned for their naval prowess, and Motonari was confident in their ability to defend against Nobunaga's forces. Back in Kyoto, Nobunaga continued to maintain a respectful relationship with Ashikaga Yoshiaki. However, the shogun was growing increasingly wary of Nobunaga's expanding power. Yoshiaki was a puppet ruler, his power merely symbolic, but he was not entirely devoid of ambition. Despite Yoshiaki's growing discomfort, Nobunaga managed to keep him placated, assuring the shogun of his loyalty and his intention to restore order to Japan. He understood the importance of keeping the shogun on his side, at least until he had consolidated enough power. Meanwhile, Hideyoshi and Ieyasu continued to support Nobunaga, their loyalty and commitment unwavering. Hideyoshi, with his resourcefulness, played a crucial role in managing the internal affairs of Nobunaga's territories, while Ieyasu provided strategic advice and military support. With the smaller clans under the Mori defecting to his side, Nobunaga prepared to launch an assault on the Mori stronghold. However, he knew that an attack would be futile against the Mori's naval defenses. Instead, he planned to launch a naval attack, a daring move considering the Mori's dominance at sea. He ordered the construction of a fleet, enlisting the help of the defected clans who were familiar with the sea routes and the Mori's naval strategies. With every passing day, the tension between the Mori and Oda forces grew, the air thick with anticipation of the impending conflict. When the time came, Nobunaga launched his attack. His fleet, under the cover of darkness, sailed towards the Mori stronghold. The battle was fierce, the Mori putting up a valiant fight, but Nobunaga's strategic brilliance and the inside knowledge of the defected clans gave him the upper hand. The Mori stronghold fell to Nobunaga, marking another significant victory in his path to unification. His dream was slowly turning into reality, his rule expanding across the length and breadth of Japan. In the aftermath of the battle with the Mori clan, Nobunaga moved swiftly to consolidate his rule over the newly conquered territories. He was careful not to antagonize the local populace. Instead, he worked to win their loyalty by implementing policies that would bring prosperity and order to the region. As he had done in the past, Nobunaga relied on Hideyoshi and Ieyasu to help him manage his expanding territories. Their loyalty, strategic insight, and dedication to Nobunaga's cause were indispensable, proving invaluable time and time again. With the Mori clan defeated, Nobunaga turned his attention to the last significant obstacle in his path to unification: Uesugi Kenshin, the powerful daimyo of Echigo province. Kenshin was a brilliant strategist, known for his devout Buddhist beliefs and military prowess. He had been watching Nobunaga's rise to power with caution, preparing his forces for a potential confrontation. Back in Kyoto, Ashikaga Yoshiaki was growing increasingly uneasy with Nobunaga's expanding power. He could no longer ignore the fact that Nobunaga was becoming a threat to his own position. Desperate to maintain his influence, Yoshiaki secretly began plotting against Nobunaga, seeking alliances with other daimyos who might share his concerns. Nobunaga, ever the astute ruler, sensed Yoshiaki's growing unease and took steps to neutralize the shogun's influence. He strengthened his control over Kyoto, slowly sidelining Yoshiaki and minimizing his role in the governance of the capital. As the tension between Nobunaga and Yoshiaki grew, Nobunaga continued to prepare for his inevitable confrontation with Uesugi Kenshin. He knew that the battle would be a test of his strategic brilliance and his resolve to unify Japan. Nobunaga studied Kenshin's tactics and sought the counsel of his trusted advisors, Hideyoshi and Ieyasu. They discussed various strategies, weighing the risks and potential rewards of each. In the end, Nobunaga decided on a plan that would capitalize on his strengths and exploit Kenshin's weaknesses. The stage was set for the final confrontation, a battle that would determine the fate of a nation and the realization of Nobunaga's dream of a unified Japan. Nobunaga knew that the impending battle with Uesugi Kenshin would not be easy. Kenshin's strategic brilliance and his formidable army were well known. Nobunaga spent countless hours planning, strategizing, and preparing his troops for the confrontation. Meanwhile, Hideyoshi and Ieyasu were by Nobunaga's side, offering their counsel and support. They helped refine Nobunaga's strategies, prepared the troops, and ensured that the territories under Nobunaga's control remained stable and secure. As the day of the battle approached, Nobunaga rallied his troops, inspiring them with his vision of a unified Japan and instilling in them the belief that they could overcome any obstacle. The morale of his troops was high, their belief in their leader unwavering. The battle with Kenshin was fierce, both sides demonstrating their strategic brilliance and determination. Kenshin's troops put up a valiant fight, but Nobunaga's strategies and the sheer resolve of his troops began to turn the tide in their favor. In Kyoto, Ashikaga Yoshiaki watched the battle unfold with growing apprehension. He knew that if Nobunaga emerged victorious, his own position would become even more precarious. Desperate, he accelerated his efforts to form alliances against Nobunaga. Despite Yoshiaki's machinations, Nobunaga remained focused on the battle. His strategies proved effective, slowly wearing down Kenshin's forces. After days of intense fighting, Kenshin finally conceded defeat. The victory over Uesugi Kenshin was a turning point in Nobunaga's quest for unification. He was now the most powerful daimyo in Japan, his dream of a unified nation within reach. With the battle won, Nobunaga turned his attention back to Kyoto and the growing threat of Yoshiaki's rebellion. He knew that the final hurdle in his path to unification was not a foreign enemy, but a threat from within his own ranks. With Uesugi Kenshin's defeat, Nobunaga's dream of a unified Japan was closer to becoming a reality. Yet, the looming threat from Ashikaga Yoshiaki, the shogun, presented a new challenge. Yoshiaki's discontent had escalated into a full-blown rebellion, and he was gathering allies to stand against Nobunaga. Nobunaga was not taken by surprise. He had anticipated Yoshiaki's actions and had a plan in place. He knew that an internal conflict could jeopardize all that he had achieved, so he moved swiftly and decisively. With Hideyoshi and Ieyasu at his side, Nobunaga began to cower Yoshiaki's rebellion. They reached out to Yoshiaki's allies, offering them negotiations and peaceful resolutions, while also preparing their forces for a possible conflict. Most of Yoshiaki's allies were wary of going against Nobunaga, especially after his victory over Kenshin. Many of them chose to negotiate, weakening Yoshiaki's rebellion even before it could gain momentum. Meanwhile, Nobunaga continued to assert his control over Kyoto, further sidelining Yoshiaki. He showed the people of Kyoto that he was a capable ruler, working tirelessly to maintain order and prosperity in the capital. Despite his dwindling support, Yoshiaki refused to back down. He made a final attempt to rally his forces against Nobunaga, but with his allies turning against him, his efforts were in vain. Seeing no other option, Yoshiaki finally conceded defeat. He was stripped of his title and exiled, marking the end of the Ashikaga shogunate. Nobunaga's victory over Yoshiaki solidified his control over Japan, bringing him one step closer to achieving his dream. With the threat of rebellion quelled, Nobunaga focused on consolidating his rule and bringing about the unification of Japan. His rule marked a period of stability and prosperity, as he implemented reforms to improve the lives of his subjects and worked towards building a strong, unified nation. With the threat of Ashikaga Yoshiaki's rebellion behind him, Nobunaga was now the undisputed ruler of Japan. His dream of a unified nation was finally a reality. However, he knew that the unification was not an end in itself, but a means to bring about the prosperity and stability he envisioned for his people. Nobunaga embarked on a series of reforms aimed at strengthening the nation. He focused on improving infrastructure, promoting trade, and fostering cultural growth. He sought to create a society where order prevailed, and his subjects could live in peace and prosperity. His allies, Hideyoshi and Ieyasu, were instrumental in implementing these reforms. Their unwavering loyalty and dedication played a key role in Nobunaga's successful rule. They helped manage the vast territories under Nobunaga's control, ensuring that his policies were enforced and his vision for Japan was realized. Nobunaga also worked to ensure the loyalty of his subjects. He understood that the unification of Japan was not just about merging territories under one rule, but about bringing together its people. He treated his subjects fairly, listened to their concerns, and worked to address their needs. Despite his stern rule, Nobunaga was respected by his subjects. They saw the improvements in their living conditions, the stability and order in their societies, and they appreciated Nobunaga's efforts. His rule marked a period of prosperity and growth, a testament to his vision for a unified Japan. However, Nobunaga's journey was not without challenges. He faced opposition, rebellions, and threats, but he overcame them all with his strategic brilliance and unwavering resolve. His victories over the Mori clan, Uzugi Kenshin, and Ashikaga Yoshiaki were testaments to his strategic brilliance and his determination to achieve his dream. As Nobunaga's rule continued, he left an indelible mark on Japan's history. His dream of a unified Japan was realized, and his efforts laid the foundation for a period of peace and prosperity that would last for years to come. His story, from his rise to power to the realization of his dream, serves as a testament to his strategic brilliance, his unwavering resolve, and his vision for a unified Japan. He was not just a powerful daimyo, but a visionary leader who shaped the course of Japan's history.